What is going on, and welcome to another segment of Nothing Personal, Just Buffalo. I'm your host, JT, with my co host, James Mallory. Mal, during the draft, or the conclusion, at the conclusion, the draft, whichever one you would like to say, call it, the Bills added big. And when I say big, I mean big. Poona Ford, a guy who was rumored to us a couple months ago, obviously when free agency, probably about the second tier or second level of free agency. He was rumored to us possibly or being in talks with us, but the Bills got their guy. Today on this segment, man, and mind you, this segment is brought to you by Checkers, so make sure you get to your local Checkers, get your chicken tenders, your chicken wing, your hamburgers, whatever, they got you covered. This is a guy that we got a question, does this fully complete defensive line? Obviously, there was a lot of questions going into our defensive line this season, obviously with the unknown health of Von Miller's knee, being 34 years old, the contract situation of Ed Oliver, Jordan Phillips had to have rotator cuff surgery, and Poona is a guy that's going to add another guy into McDermott's platoon. So, what did you think of the guys getting him, and does he actually complete this defensive line?
I love it. I think it's a underrated signing. I think this is a guy that's gonna come in hungry. I think it's a guy that's gonna push people. Both push them, meaning pushing them to drive, and then he's gonna push like drive to work harder and to be better for competition, and also push people offensive line, other opponents' offensive lines. I think he's gonna push both ways. So he's going to immediately, I believe, help the run game. I don't think it'll be a drop off because we have some guys that kind of came in and it will be a drop off here and there. I don't think it'll be a drop off now.
Yeah.
You look at the defensive tackle room. You look at DaQuan Jones. You look at Ed Oliver. You got Poona Ford. You got Tim Settle, and you got Jordan Phillips. There's no. I said it before. JT ain't no excuse for this D line no more, man. It's no excuse. It's zero.
Yeah.
Y'all got to come balling. There's zero excuse for anything with this D line. If we talk about from the DNs to D tackles, I mean, let's kind of name it here. I might be jumping ahead, JT, but listen, there's no excuse no more. Ebenezer, Shaq Lawson, Boogie Basher, Greg Rousseau, Von Miller, right? Then you come DaQuan Jones, Ed Oliver, Jordan Phillips, Poona Ford, Tim Settle.
Yeah.
No excuses.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah. I have to agree. I mean, as far as the defensive tackle spot goes, you got Ed Oliver, you got DaQuan Jones, right? You got Poona Ford, you got Tim Settle, and you got Jordan Phillips coming up the rear. Obviously, recovering from injury. It's going to be very hard at this point in time for guys like Eli Anku or Brandon Bryant, who both had showed last year a little bit of promise. Obviously, they weren't as good as the starters when they were in there. But this is going to all but, in my opinion, push them out of roster contention, in my opinion. I think that room is set. I think what Poona brings is, he brings culture. Okay? If you know anything about him and being in his time with the Seattle Seahawks, the community, the teammates, the coaches, they all love this guy.
Yep.
They call him a vibe. Okay? That's awesome to hear. Because obviously last season, with everything that happened in Buffalo around the city, what happened with happened in the city, what happened around the team, we need an infusion of culture here, okay? The other thing is this. Poona's only 5'11". He's 310 pounds. He's very, very tough to move. What I thought Tim Settle was going to give us last year, we didn't necessarily get. We didn't get it last year. I think this year with Poona, we're going to get that second one-tech defensive tackle that we were looking for.
Yep.
I think when you go down to the goal line, you're going to have times where you're going to have Tim Settle, maybe Jordan Phillips, whichever one's playing better if Jordan's healthy. But you're going to have Poona Ford in there, and you're going to have DaQuan Jones. That's going to be very tough to run on the outside. Extremely tough. Like I said, this guy is not really movable like that, especially being that at that height. And I'm going to ask you about that pat level. The only thing is, obviously, everything can't be glitz and glamour. he is coming off what most would consider a down year. He had 22 tackles last year. He added another 3 sacks. He's actually had 3 sacks in the last 3 years, 2020, 2021, 2022. So we can expect what sack total we're probably going to get from him with that. His hurries were down from 27 hurries to 14, and QB hits was up from 3 to 5. Missed tackle rate was 7.5, and he had 15 stops. Snap counts was down just a little bit last year. Like I said, I'll have to research that. I don't know if it was because of the defensive switch, but the snap count was down to 642 from 802. But it's honestly, out of his 5 years in Seattle, was his third highest snap count in general. So this is a guy who's played a lot of football and a lot of meaningful football in Seattle. And Seattle was a playoff team.
Yeah.
Okay? So, like I said, once again, it's not all glitz and glamour. I'm not saying this guy is the second coming of John Randall or anything like that. But I do think he brings a lot of value on the field and inside that locker room.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's one thing that's underrated is the value that people bring to the locker room and the community. That kind of get people to buy in. It helps that culture, right? And I think he's going to do that from everything that I'm hearing about him. I think he's going to help that culture. He's going to help the football team. He's going to help the community. He's going to help the whole vibe. And, hey, we can use it.
Yeah. Like I said, I think, too, with us losing Leslie Frazier, and, I mean, if anybody knows how much he means at locker room, it's us too, because we've been pounding the table for how much Leslie Frazier means as a coach to this team. We're losing him. Once again, you're going to need veterans, you're going to need leadership, you're going to need people who are culture fit to replace him, because Leslie Frazier added all of that. Poona's going to help in that category. Boy, I want to talk about his pad level. At being only 5'11", 310 pounds, how tough is it for offensive linemen to move him off his spots?
Well, you think about it. Football, they say the low man wins, right?
Right.
If you got a guy who has really good technique, really strong, really good feet, right? He's 5'11", but most offensive linemen was 6'4", 6'5". It's a big difference. You know, you got somebody that's firing off the ball really, really quick, and he's low into the ground. And we have two people like that. We got Ed Oliver, who's he's was 6'1". Yeah, and both those two D tackles have really good get off. I don't know how many D tackles outside of obviously the best ever doing, in my opinion. Aaron Donald can get off the ball like Ed Oliver. And you add somebody like Poona Ford with that pad level is so low, being able to get your hands on this, it makes it difficult, especially for some linemen who have trouble with their bend. You got somebody like that's a headache for them.
And it's funny because you heard all draft talk about the offensive lineman and having issues or matchup issues with guys who are lower to the ground. That dropped some of these tackles from the first to the second, from the second to the fourth round.
Yep.
Because of the bend. And I'm glad you said that, because that brings me to my next point. You have Poona, who's played a lot of meaningful snaps. You're switching out a guy in Eli Anku, who pretty much was playing for the end of the season, and within this platoon defense. That's a huge upgrade. The biggest part about the upgrade is that you were able to upgrade after the NFL draft, which affects two things there. A, it brought, obviously, if you're signing after the NFL draft, it brings your compensation level way down. It's not good for Poona, great for Buffalo. The second thing is adding after the draft that has no bearing or barring on compensatory picks for the next season. So the fact that they were able to add probably the top free agent left on the market post-draft and still get the compensatory pick for Tremaine Edmonds next year is extremely huge. I think the other part of it is this. Daquan Jones, Ed Oliver, Jordan Phillips are all on, and Tim Settle all have 1 year remaining on their deals this season. None are under contract for next year. I think that means, hey, two of you guys are going to get re-signed, and two of you guys are gone.
You know what it reminds me of?
Right.
You remember in Batman, Heath Ledger was the Joker?
Mm-hmm.
You remember when he broke the pool stick in half?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to have tryouts. There's about 4 of them in the room. best man win. That
Yeah,
scene, right? That's what it's
yeah,
like. Like, okay, whoever balls out the season, this is gonna be a reward. You're gonna be here. I think it's
yeah.
something similar to that.
I agree. I agree. And I just, like I said, these are the type moves that you've always said. These are the type moves that win you Super Bowls. These are the type moves that Brandon Beane has made and Sean McDermott has made over the years that we've gotten massive value from guys just like Poona Ford.
Yep.
Looking for a home, looking to showcase, and then we think that okay, they showcase, they're gonna leave it this season, and they look to stay.
Look at Jordan Phillips. He came here, he balled out his first stint. He didn't look the same when he left, and he came back. And he was having a heck of a year before he messed his shoulder up.
Yeah.
Same type of thing.
I mean, for a team that went into the offseason and in the red with financials, to come out of that with okay, a versatile pick in Dalton Kincaid, a offensive guard drafty in Osiris Torrance, Poona Ford signing, a Taylor Rapp signing, Hardy, Sherfield. The Bills did pretty good for themselves.
Damon Harris.
Damon Harris, yes. They forgot about Damon. Latavius Murray. The Bills did pretty good for themselves. And like I said, I think that Poona Ford is going to be a guy that in a long line of bargain signings that Brandon Beane has made, this one I think is going to work out incredibly well for the team. And honestly, to be honest with you, by the end of the season, he could be your starting defensive tackle next to Ed Oliver. I don't think Ed's ever going to come off the starting unit. He just adds something that those other guys just don't have in the burst. But Poona Ford could unseat Daquan Jones as your starting one tag.
I got a feeling Daquan Jones. I like Subtle, man. I like the group we got.
Yeah.
I got a feeling Daquan Jones got a strong year. Ed Oliver is probably gonna have his best year of his career. That's just reality of it. I think those guys would be a force. I think they could potentially be a force.
I mean, they're Ed Oliver's up for pay, so it's like I don't think that money's gonna get allocated to him this year or next off season. So these guys are competing for starting spots for not only this year but the next year as well.
Yeah, agree.
So, love the Poona Ford signing. Love that he's here in Buffalo. I think that he's gonna pay big dividends, and Poona could make this a home for him for the foreseeable future with a good season.
Yeah, agree.
So, well, like they say, man, one man's loss is another Brandon Beane gain. And Poona Ford, that's where we're at. So, love the signing. I give this one a B plus, definitely.
Absolutely, strong B plus.
So, that's it. That's another segment. Poona Ford, welcome to Buffalo. It's nothing personal, just Buffalo. JT, James Mallory, brought to you by Checkers. Catch you next time. Peace.